What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Bennett and Mike Baker coming at you with another episode of the Weekly Tech Wrap-Up. Hope everybody is doing well out there. I think this is episode 13 now. So we in there deep, man.
Episode 13, man.
We've been at this thing, man. It's been, what, 3.5, like 4 months or something like that? So
going since November sometime, Ree.
Yeah. So, I mean, we in there like
swimwear,
man. But how you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, man. I'm staying quarantined.
Yeah.
I'm chilling. I'm A-OK. I'm not going through the hysteria like everybody else. I'm trying to keep a level head about this shit.
Yeah, it's been crazy, bro. This whole coronavirus stuff, man. I can never see the stuff right. I be on coronavirus and I say coronavirus.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. We've been talking about this coronavirus since fucking February 20th. It was on our sheets. It was on there on February 16th or 20th or something like that. I think it was the 20th. I mean, but like we've been talking about this shit since like episode 8, 9 or some shit. Like it's been a long time running.
Yeah, man. I still feel like, the conspiracy theorist in me still says that there's a lot of things that's happening behind the scenes, right? Like the coronavirus or whatever, COVID-19.
Rona.
The Rona. It's like it's like the surface thing. You feel me? Like that's something that, of course, the powers that be, the media is going to heavily promote to the masses to kind of get them in hysteria, right? But there's a whole lot of other stuff that's being exploited behind the scenes, set up behind the scenes that I know for. I mean, it's just historically we know what happens, right? So we're just kind of waiting to see, maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, what type of situation we in based off of us being duped by this time. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. But,
I mean, it's so many people, man. There's so many people in the world. There's so many people that's on top and so many people in like marketing, and there's so many people that are actually it's affecting so many people that you bound to have everybody's agenda spilling into this objective. Like everybody essentially wants to ultimately stop the coronavirus, but then you can say some people don't want to stop it. I mean, some people want to profit from it, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's like everybody has an agenda right now, and whether it's proactively to prevent this or to just gain some type of monetary benefit from it, it's out there and it's being sold to everybody that's just a regular person.
Right. We already know that from the last episode we talked about Russia and what they was doing with the they creating these coronavirus malware packs. They were selling the folks. We know this stuff goes on, man. But it actually goes into what what we're going to be talking about today. So just kind of jumping into it. What we do. We give you all this criticism of what's going on in the IT industry. The people who are doing the right thing, the people who need to do a better job, and not just people, but of course corporations. But the 3 topics we want to jump into today is as we peruse the internet, we found some things we want to share with you all. First thing, it says WHO, which is the World Health Organization, and game companies, combined with game companies, they're launching, though they've already launched, and they're in the Play a Part Together campaign to promote physical distancing. We're going to jump into that, talk a little bit about that. Second thing, says U.S. government is tracking American cell phones to see how they move and spread coronavirus during the pandemic. So I already think that's a little bit sketchy as far as we'll chop it up about that. And lastly, it says another sketchy thing, says Zoom updates app to remove Facebook data sharing.
Yeah.
So quick tidbit about that. What's happening is that people was pretty much getting their data shared to Facebook and didn't know it through Zoom. So that's that. Well, yeah, we're gonna jump into it, man. So first things first, it says WHO and game companies launched Play a Part Together to promote physical distancing. So if people don't know, again, if you watch this, come on a channel, maybe 10 years down the line or something like that, you watch this to give an overview of what's going on. There's something happening right now in 2020. This pandemic has been, I think, socially engineered, called the coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
Like something happening. And one of those things that President Donald Trump, whether it be my president, your president, is President Donald Trump, he is talking about, one of his initiatives is this thing called social distancing, where they want people to stay at least 6 feet apart from each other, which I think is kind of silly because, if stuff is airborne, it doesn't, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, they did announce that it's not an actual airborne joint.
Oh, they're not. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but what did they say? When you sneeze and cough, you turn into an aerosol spray can, basically. So like it turned into that mist. So if you're around somebody that's like 6 feet, in all actuality, you can cough and that shit will go like 10, 20 feet. But like
exactly.
nonetheless, if you give somebody 6 feet, they feel comfortable anyway. I think most of this just be our comfort level, yo. I think most of this is just to comfort us into a slow, downcline, but whatever, decline, but whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you can cough, your spit fly. It's been a numerous time I talked to somebody and made a mistake and spit across the table. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you cough, it's all type of air particles, whatever. Spit, whatever. But so social distancing they're talking about here. But to promote, we have gaming companies who gaming is already like it's become an online thing where you have some people still meet up about stuff. But the World Health Organization and different gaming companies have taken their time to create this movement to better help prevent the spread of the coronavirus for people who play video games or people just all surrounding the gaming industry. They've just gone to do this to I guess help not spread it. Now, my honest opinion about it as well. I kind of shared a little bit. I just think it's silly anyway. But I kind of get why, and this may be a little bit funny. But being that I'm an avid gamer, I know for a fact that in a lot of these mass conventions, you have your Evo, different gaming tournaments and stuff like that. You meet people from all different walks of life, and you find that there's a many of people who are a part of this, like they fit within this genre of life, I guess, of being a video game and all that stuff like that. They're not really cleanly people. All right. That's to be a heavy generalization, but it's just from my experience. I've noticed that. And so I can kind of see where they've gone with this. Two, I think it's always, again, the World Health Organization is an organization, right? And they may not necessarily be a for-profit organization, but there's always a bartering system that's in place. There's always exchange going on. So I look at this as an opportunity for, and right now, many people don't know if they're watching this later on, is that a lot of businesses right now are going through like a heavy downturn. The economy is kind of in a bad position. In fact, some would say that they haven't seen anything like this, since the world, the Great Depression. Right. Yeah. So you have certain companies that within like a month's time, they're going out of business, they're completely disappearing. So everybody's kind of like scraping for scraps, getting whatever it is they can get to kind of keep alive. And again, with the World Health Organization, I don't really, I never heard of WHO before. I don't really, I don't really monitor stuff like that. But I just know that whenever there's the ability for someone to spread their influence or something, they will do it. And of course, with them being the health organization, talking about something where most people are abiding by the rules now, staying home, for them to be able to get their message out there about anything and maybe throw some marketing about something, that basically get some ends from you. I think they'll do that as well. So, I think it's, what it is. This is something that I think it's, I don't really see how the people really benefit from this, because this is kind of what you do as a game anyway. You play together apart. So I don't know, but
yeah. Definitely that, like, that's what they have been having these memes going around everywhere. That's basically just saying, like, what is it, like, introverts before the coronavirus and then introverts after the coronavirus. And it's like, basically they doing the same shit. It's like gamers been doing play together apart anyway, or
Right.
whatever their slogan is, like play together,
Together.
play
Yeah.
apart together. Like they've been that's the whole point of like online gaming is like
Yeah.
we apart. So we playing online, or else we be playing right next to each other. Like that's the whole dynamic of online gaming in general. I think part of this is like, I mean, the fact that they are attempting to push this together, I guess is really it's a benefit for both of them because they get something out of it. But it's definitely like not anything new. Like the WHO organization gets people to stay in the house and gives them incentive to stay in the house by doing something like playing games. The game companies get more people to play the games, but I mean, it doesn't really. It still seems like a selfish benefit to them. Like the game companies are really just benefit by potentially getting more gamers into it, and the WHO organization just doesn't have to deal with another sick person. I mean, so like that's their benefit out of it. But I mean, it really still doesn't seem like it's a change of what they would have been doing anyway. If you're not a gamer, the pandemic isn't going to necessarily turn you into a gamer all of a sudden. Like, if anything, if you're not a gamer and you like to read books, you're just going to keep reading your books. I mean, you're not going to decide all of a sudden, yeah, this pandemic happened. I should go out and get a PlayStation real quick. I mean, like, you already had that lined up for real. Like that was already in your plan before this pandemic. And now that this happened, you ain't about to spend some $200, $300 that you may not have on gaming. Yeah, I
Facts.
mean, it's like that. I mean, it's one of those things where it's self-serving. It's like preaching to the choir, sort of.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it sounds like they're trying to. I actually just a tidbit from the article I'm going to read. It says here, the gaming sector will launch Play Together initiative and inform and encourage the vast that who part. So they encourage users to follow WHO's important health guidelines. Now you got to watch the technology.
I like that word,
Verbiage here. You know what I'm
technology.
saying? Right.
Yeah,
It says to follow, encouraging people to follow users to follow WHO's important health guidelines, which includes physical distancing. Okay, but then it says hand hygiene and
Mhm.
other powerful preventive actions to slow the spread of COVID-19. So what people don't know, maybe watching in the future, if you don't know now, if you don't really care, is that there's been this spur of like people buying elderberry and vitamin C and vitamin D, and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody's kind of been at a rush to buy all of this stuff.
Gatorade.
Yeah,
I mean, not Gatorade, ginger ale and shit. Everybody buying ginger ale bold and shit.
man, that's crazy because everybody's buying ginger ale, but there's a whole bunch of. When I went to the market, there's a whole bunch of ginger that's still left in the house.
Right, exactly. Just get ginger in your system,
Right,
bro.
like you know what I mean? Like, you can just get ginger and like soak that. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Like
But
cook it
I
in your chicken or whatever. Like you
all
don't
right.
even know. You don't even know.
So yeah, I mean, but with the verbiage as far as the whole hand hygiene and powerful preventive actions, I mean, it sounds like So what would you do, hypothetically to, prevent the whole spread? That would include, of course, buying hand sanitizer, buying bleach and cleaning supplies, and this and this. So when people what you see what's happening here is like you go to different stores. I went to Kroger today. Um, everything from the toilet tissue. I don't know what it is about toilet tissue, man, but everybody, it's like there's none that's really there. Toilet tissue, hand towels.
Zeitgeist, the
Yeah,
zeitgeist. It popped on social media, and everybody started going to it. They saw 3 fights over it. Yeah, I mean, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, we
yeah,
need toilet paper." Yeah, I mean, and everybody's the zeitgeist. It's something that got into people's ideas of what they think survival means in this type of scenario that requires them to go and run for toilet paper. Like, I mean, it just tells you that a lot of people really care about shit. Like, that's really an important deal. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on in our situation, but like people are buying toilet paper in bulk. They buying
right,
it by the 40 packs, about 100 packs. For what reason? I don't know. Because for as far as I can see, people still leaving their houses.
right.
I mean, it's not like you didn't need that toilet paper. And if you need it, I mean, I guess people don't know how long a toilet roll can last, man.
Well, this is the thing.
toilet paper roll can last
I,
longer.
with me and I realized this living with a couple of women, my girl and stuff like that. There's a reason why you see women fighting over toilet paper. You don't see dude. I ain't never seen.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I know for a fact that women go through toilet paper
at an
like
exponentially high rate.
it has to, and then we'd be like, 10 times more, and that's like we kind of embellish on it, like, no.
Yeah,
I really mean literally 10 times faster. The way
yeah,
that if it takes me like, I don't know, maybe between like 3 to 4 weeks or something like that to get through a roll. I don't know,
mhm.
man. I don't know. I just know that versus my girl, that one joint will be gone within 7 days
Yeah, they got different
or
use
less.
cases. They got
So
different use cases.
yeah.
There's 10,000 different use cases where we basically probably just using it for hygiene purposes. They're using it for hygiene purposes also, but they also using it for a variety of things from everything, like clean up the takeoff when it comes to makeup, when it comes to nail
Yeah.
polish, when it comes to everything.
Well, they already got two things to wipe. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
exactly.
that's there you go. So I mean, it's gonna double it up. But yeah, about this, man. I mean, as we move forward, I mean, I just feel like this is just another. I'm always looking at it like, what's the marketing employee behind this? Because again, it's kind of like they just preaching to the choir. It's like they just talking air. It's empty, and they just want to like pretty much it's self promote. But it is what it is. I mean, more power to them. But jumping into the next article, man. It says the U.S. government is tracking American cell phones to see how they move and spread coronavirus during this quote unquote pandemic. Now, my opinion is this is nothing new. Like the U.S. has been tracking you, since you had a cell phone. All right, it's not like and I think you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. Like this, man. Like they this is how they're able to find certain people, certain like somebody's a terrorist, something like that. They track a cell phone or whatever the case is. So we know this happens, right? They have to keep a part of that. I guess the whole like I guess the Patriot Act that came out and everything like some time ago. Like Americans are being tracked.
2000, after 2000, after 2001.
Yeah, so we already know that that's a thing. I just feel like this is another thing. I guess almost like a smoke screen, if you want to call it that, where they're just giving a reason behind maybe upping the tracking because of what's going on right now. But like this is nothing new. It says that about 500 cities within America eventually will be completely monitored in a portal, and all of their information, like their personal information, will be accessible. I think I see that in here. So that's actually we big on the talking about how a lot of these bigger industries, bigger entities, they kind of just operate autonomously and almost, I guess, from their position, almost omnipotently, where they don't really care about people failing and stuff like that, and how much that can be a moral breach of this morally breaches comfort and all the other type of stuff like that. But I mean, it's in here. You just see that again, it's another reason for, again, like, just pay attention to the verbiage and what's going on. It just gives a reason. This whole coronavirus scare and pandemic, mind you, a lot of it, based on the numbers of like what's happening, there's still been people that's died. I don't have the exact statistics, but there's still been more people that die of heart disease, die of the flu, die of pneumonia, die of cancer, die of something complications with diabetes and heart disease. There's been more people that's died already this year in America versus the coronavirus. So it's neither here nor there. But I feel like what's going on with this whole, like, the over promotion of this coronavirus pandemic is they want to find some way to be upping your shit a lot more without you having anything to say about it. Because many people don't know, and I don't get too much on my soapbox here, but you have rights as a citizen, and that the government has to abide by. It's just, if you don't really know it, they don't really have to abide by it. But whenever it comes to stuff like this, if you willingly give up these rights based off of, fear mongering, then that's on you. So I think that's what really what's going on. There's some other things that I think eventually we will either see or will be affected by that we're not really paying attention to right now. That it's happening by way of, the powers that be promoting this idea that they are trying to track who's spreading what, through their, by tracking their cell phones. But what you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing that for a while. They've been tracking forever, like so you said, since the start of it. Um, this particular article, they talking about they're essentially siphoning off the data that they already collect anyway. All the companies, any telecommunication provider that is out there, anybody that's offering cell phone service, essentially has all this data anyway. They have to have it for the systems to even work in the first place. The machines need it in order to allow phone A to communicate with phone B. So I mean, it's just part of the system, and I mean they're building out another piece of software that essentially jumps into the overall system to be able to pull those pieces of data out of it to be able to track those locations and determine, you know, where people are going, where the spread happens. So I mean, it's nothing new. It's all part of the same system anyway. Um, what I think is that, yeah, some of this may be not necessarily part of the Patriot Act, but it's some type of new act that may be enacted sooner than later. I mean, it's all types of conspiracy
Oh,
theories
you're
that are,
right. I forgot what it's called. My bad, bro. I think it's called the CARES Act. It's Corona. So I'm gonna look it up. Go ahead, keep rocking.
yeah. I mean, it's just it's a lot of things that are popping up. Like I said earlier, the fact that this pandemic is happening is allowing the most advantageous of us to be able to, you know, take advantage of this situation. In particular, if you are a person that works at a particular company that has, you know, the money to benefit from this type of I guess this pandemic, if you're able to benefit from it, they're going to exploit it in whatever way they possibly can. And I mean, and when it comes to them starting this, it's, I mean, because right now we're just assuming that this is a temporary thing for as long as the pandemic happens. They're going to be tracking these 500 cities, these citizens inside these 500 cities. They're going to be tracking their movements to be able to try to narrow down the process of how the coronavirus is spreading. But I mean, it could very well, like right now, we can't even say when the coronavirus is going to have a down curve and essentially stop. So who's to say when they'll stop tracking our phones? Like it's
Yeah,
no, there's no determined end date right now. And I mean, this is news saying that this
facts.
is about to start happening, but there'll probably be no news talking about when this is ending. And if they do talk about it, they'll probably be like 10 years from now, they'll be like, yeah, this program that they started back in 2020 to track people for the coronavirus, now that the virus has been obliterated or whatever, they're thinking about shutting it down. And then they'll be like, they're thinking about it and be like, well, that shit, we ended that back in 2021. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, for 9 years, y'all just been tracking us just in case. Like, it's one of those things that's I mean, they do say on there that they're not sharing all the data. So I mean, like, you know, you get the phone and you get the location and you get the timestamp of when it was at that location, but for the most part you're not getting the username on that phone. You're not getting the owner of that device. They're not getting like who this person was unless they happen to be one of the people that were infected with the coronavirus. And in that case, then your whole life is exposed because they got to know everything about you.
That's where I
So
finally. Oh no, I
no,
would say
yeah.
that. I would say that's where I finally. It's so my girl. She showed me. She didn't show me. She told me about an article she read stating that. Again, I was saying that a lot of people have died from different complications, stuff like that this year. She
Mhm.
said that in the article, there's been people on the death certificates they've been seeing. That's the coroner, whoever says who died, how they died, and stuff like that, putting
Mhm.
on there that people were dying from the coronavirus when they didn't. They died of influenza,
Right,
died of
right.
pneumonia, died of fibromyalgia, something like that. So, I mean, that kind of plays into the, if they're gonna say that, if they find someone that has the coronavirus, however they figure that out, and they got to get all the information. They could just start saying, well, this person has it and this person has it, and I
Right.
mean, what's the
Yeah.
proof? It's already kind of like convoluted, as far as like because the way that you get tested, the testing is limited, and
Mhm.
then they say that if you're under like the age of 30 or some shit like that, you got to wait 8 days before you come in and get tested to have the symptoms, and then when you get there, you got to wait 4 days to get your. So it's like I
Yeah.
don't know, man. Again, I look at it like you know they're trying to take more time to figure out how can they set up this set up this infrastructure, kind of like right, hiding right in front of our eyes, right? Like how you trying to
Yeah,
set that up?
Governor Palpatine is definitely trying to find a way to lock down the empire. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like, take a Star Wars reference. I mean, like, he is definitely they're definitely using this pandemic as a means to change how what we consider civil rights
Mhm.
and the Bill of Rights and our freedoms and things like that. They're definitely changing that. And I mean, this article is an article written by the Daily Mail, and the Daily Mail is England, is UK. I
Yeah.
mean, they got their own issues when it comes to privacy and monitoring everybody with cameras. Like they used to be considered like one of the number one
Right.
people monitors. Like back when before cameras were like heavily used as much as they are today, they were considered the ones. Yeah, they're spying on everybody in their citizenship, and they're writing this article about how America is doing it, and they acting like, oh shit, we don't even do that. Like
Yeah.
like that's when it starts getting scary, when it's like, yo, another government that also has issues with dipping into people's privacy
Right.
is looking at another country and saying, damn, y'all doing too much.
They are
Like,
they are boldly purely the pot calling the kettle black in its purest form. That's what it
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny. It's funny to watch. It's like one of them things. Like a lot of this has been one of those things where it's like them tragic comedies and shit. Like you can either be like completely angry about it and try to fight the whole system, and I'm gonna fight everything, or you can just sort of like laugh at the scenario and just like try to soothe other people's pains and shit. Like like because people out here going crazy, and I mean some of them got a right to and a reason to, but at the same time it's like a lot of people have already been expecting this happen, and they were just
yeah.
like, damn, this is perfect timing. Yeah, I mean, this is when it happens. This is how it's happening. And
Perfectly
it's
executed.
really, yeah, it's one of the things where you really, it's just you gotta monitor it so you know about it because it's happening, and you just gotta make sure you can navigate your way through it however way possible.
That's it, man. I mean, hey, I could, you know what, bro? I could be wrong and all that and catch the coronavirus tomorrow. So,
Yeah, I mean, you always hear these stories. I'm waiting for like something personal to happen. And I don't want anything personal to happen. Like, but you're hearing these stories slowly come around. Like, oh, this DJ did such and such. Oh, this congresswoman did she died of the coronavirus here and here. DJ dies here. Shit. So like you start to slowly hear them, and I mean a lot of it is because of the fact that when people first heard about the coronavirus and they first started shutting stuff down, we went into a panic.
right.
I mean, and then nothing major happened immediately, and it was like, well, were we really panicking? And then the thing was that we were early. Yeah, I mean, we were luckily early enough to even to be ahead of when that curve starts going up. Now it's going up, and we got to prove how valuable that is. Like, is it really, is everything accurate? Like, are we really at 120,000 cases, or is it maybe like 84,000 cases, and a lot, and the rest of them is like something else? But like,
They said there's
nonetheless,
100,000 cases.
yeah, we over 100,000. We have like 120,000 now.
What in the states?
Yeah.
People should
Yeah.
say,
We
I
had a
don't know, G man.
yeah, I mean, we had
I,
100,000 cases
I ain't
in the
buying it, bro.
states,
But
and
yeah,
like, and I want to say about 3,000 deaths, but like 4,000 recoveries. I mean, and I'm only getting that from statistical system that's just promoting it on the world. They have like a real time stat measure that they check of every country that has been reporting something here and there. So, I mean, it's down the line of somebody's information coming from some resource, but ultimately, it's in that figure for everybody around in the states. Is it? Yeah, in the states. In the states is 100,000. I can't open it right now because then it'll be like a whole bunch of music playing. But in the states, is 100,000 playing. hundred
uh,
thousand. We
I mean,
we we surpassed China. We surpassed Italy for cases. I mean,
I'll put it like this, bro. Like, it's what it is. This, we hear this, but you don't hear anything about the coronavirus being spread in Russia or North Korea, do you?
And I that was another thing that I was about to
But you
like.
know that's another
Like they, for one, they keeping their mouth shut about anything because they ain't trying to let nothing be known. But also, like the same exact day, the day after, actually, like Trump said the Chinese virus, and every day after he said the Chinese virus, we stopped getting accurate stats from China. Yeah, I mean, so like we can't really say what's going on over there anymore because they were like, you know what, these motherfuckers is calling us out. We ain't gonna give them the information. Yeah, I mean, so we think that China is doing better. We don't know because China's not going to keep telling us because we keep calling them out as the Chinese virus.
Right.
I
So
mean, and it's problematic when you can't be negotiable and have social tactics when it comes to trying to do things on a global level.
yeah. But but yeah, man, we beat that horse down, man. I mean, it is like
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
little,
I mean, it's beating everybody down, bro. The
yeah,
whole thing beating everybody down. We trying to stay technical about it though.
yeah. That's it. I mean, overall, yeah. Let's just move to the next time. So, Zoom. So just more. So here we have all right, some good stuff in my opinion. Just more pure tech stuff. It says Zoom
Yeah,
updates app to remove Facebook data sharing. So again, we back on Facebook's case. Whoever, no. Actually, it's Zoom's case. Excuse me.
Zoom by
So it's
way of
like,
Facebook.
yeah, there you go. Zoom by way of Facebook. So what people didn't know is that on the iOS app, I don't know if it says anything about any other platform, but on the iOS app,
Mhm,
they were anonymously sending data to Facebook, even if the user didn't have a Facebook profile. So
mhm.
I mean, be it that I've run ads or ran ads, I ran ads. I'm running ads now for different things I'm working on. That's information that you some of the stuff when you're creating, like you're going into like your demographics stuff like that, you're trying to figure out who to target. You get data points where you kind of question like, oh snap, where do you get this type of data from for me to, target certain folk? And I think this is just another case where in Facebook's pool of data and their methods to collect data from people. This is another thing that points to how what's a good word I can use? Uh, how snake like they can be when it comes to siphoning people's data without them knowing. Because I had no idea, bro. Until I seen it, I had no idea that Zoom was sharing data. I just took a Zoom call with one of my friends about some business stuff
Mhm.
about 2 days ago, and
Yeah.
and so I'm like, dang, I didn't even But when did they issue this? This says March 28th. Okay, so it may have sure, it may have happened 2-3 days ago. I don't
Essentially,
know.
yeah. If you
Yeah,
just gotta go and make sure you updated the app for real,
that's
and make
that's
sure they pull that
that.
stuff
I didn't do
out.
that. See, I ain't update that. I don't have that yet. See, I need to update my app, so I'm probably still sharing my stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is another case of companies working together in a sense to be able to siphon data and create a pool of different data points on the people, what I mean, without them knowing, and just to use for whatever purposes they want. I mean, we've experienced these I guess Twilight Zone type of experiences online where you may be talking about something and then suddenly you see an ad, whether it be on YouTube or like on a gaming plan, you see an ad comes up that's showing you or advertising to you on a topic you were just actually talking about 5 or 10 seconds ago.
Mhm.
So I mean, again, you see it here that and it's always questionable at this point though, because of the familiarity of this topic. I think many people are just being inundated with, knowing that all these companies are sharing the stuff, not really caring for it, but just sharing it back and forth.
I think because Zoom getting its popularity so much, that's a big deal. It's like
Oh
Zoom
well,
is flying
that's
now.
true. I didn't
Because
even
like I
think of
didn't
that.
even
Yeah.
I've heard of Zoom, but I haven't used it until this week. I mean, I heard of Zoom many for like a couple months, but I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I
Yeah.
guess they trying to compete against like Skype and whatnot, but
Mhm.
like I don't know, between all these other video conferencing platforms and video calls and whatnot, I never really felt like it was a need to ever use Zoom, and then along comes this whole thing, and it's like Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. Like everybody's
Yeah.
using Zoom for real,
Yeah.
and I mean it's just a big thing. I mean really a lot of this really it falls on Facebook because they're the ones who ultimately got the data, but a lot of it does fall on Zoom because Zoom, like if you ever use like APIs and stuff like that, it's like lock and key systems. Like it's always tiers to every functionality. Like even if you use Facebook API, it's tiers to certain things. Like do I want location information? Do I want address information? Do I want like interest in places and things like that? And you usually gotta each one of those are essentially is its own API, and you gotta like unlock each one of them to be able to use all of them. And what tends to happen with a lot of developers when you get an API, you don't really know what you're going to use. You don't really know what you want to use yet. So what you end up doing is you unlock everything. You be like, I'm just going to allow everything to be open, and I'm gonna start using the API. I'm gonna build my app, and I'm gonna build it into with these features. And later on, we'll worry about narrowing down to be more specific about what piece we want to use. But like initially, it don't really. It's like, yo, let me just open the whole thing up, and then I'll siphon it off to be like, only want to use this, I only want to use that. And then what they were saying here is like they basically just took the whole Facebook SDK, the whole software,
Yeah. So
and it was like, yeah, we're gonna just build in pieces, and until we figure out specifically what we're using, we just gonna allow basically all the functionalities that run, just let them run automatically, and that's what got them caught up. And now they're just like, all right, now we took out everything. Now we took out everything because apparently we ain't really using all of that. so
and
so
then
we took
essentially
out everything.
they essentially bought a big ass bag of like big Legos, dumped all that shit out
Yeah,
on the floor, and then after they done built their
yeah.
house or whatever they want, whatever was left, they kind of just putting it back. Like, all right, we don't need
Yeah,
this.
and
We don't need
that's
this.
what they should have did. What they realized, their mother came in the room was like, "What you doing with all these Legos everywhere?" Like you got your house over here, but what's all this shit?
Stepped on a Lego.
I mean, so now they forcing them to put all their Legos away and shit. So like, I mean, they only really need they say they only needed the login functionality, or that's what they have left. That's the only thing that they're really using, which is 90% of what everybody actually even needs. The only thing they really want is to be able to make it easy for somebody to sign in. Just use your Facebook account, and that's what they left in there. You log in, you can log in with your Facebook joint, but beyond that, unless you give it the okay, it's not really going to give you all those other questions. Like, when you connect the app, it'll be like, do you allow Facebook to post? Do you allow this app to potentially post to your wall and like to show that you like this product and all this stuff? And like those functionalities are taken out. I mean, and it's just log in, just log me in and let that be that.
That's it. That's it. But yeah, man. Yeah, I mean that's it, bro. I ain't really nothing too much to read. There's more fugazi that goes on with these companies and
Oh
Facebook
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. We got a lot to go, bro. We
Yeah,
got a
we
lot of
got
ways to go.
we got I mean you're gonna see more stuff happening down the line with Facebook coming up. Facebook is at a level where they're so big that even when the stuff comes out, it's kind of like it's a part of your life. Right? So what
Yeah,
you gonna do? I mean, you gonna stop using Facebook now? Like,
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Facebook is one of those companies. Like, I mean, they at this point, now that they got boomers using that was probably like the hardest barrier of entry for real. It's like
yeah.
getting the people that aren't familiar with the technology to start using it, and that's basically where they're at now. Because
Oh my
I mean,
god.
everybody was on it. Anybody that knew how to use a telephone, a cell phone, for the most part, was on it, except for the people that were looking at a cell phone, like, how do I make a call?
Right.
I mean, like, if they had to figure out how to make a phone call, then they probably wasn't using Facebook for a long time. But even now, those people are like, all right, let me check my Facebook.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean, at
now
that
them
point,
same people they sending chain messages, man, about
yeah,
I love you this and God is good and all that. Like, okay, man, I get it.
and like the
All right.
coronavirus was built by Trump and the NSA.
Yeah.
Like they the ones. I mean, it's kind of it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. Like if Facebook was to die out, there'll be like 20 companies that's going to try to take its place, which is why Facebook won't die out.
All right. There you
I
go.
mean,
That's it. There you have it, folks. That was perfectly. We can end on that note, man. It was perfectly stated, man. That's all we got for y'all today on the Weekly Tech Wrap Up, man. We want y'all to remember to follow us wherever you can follow us, man. We on the best podcasting platforms, everything from Apple Music, Google Play, get SoundClouds. We everywhere when it comes to podcasting, man. Spotify. So yeah, just go there, follow us. We got more heat coming your way. Of course, we want to have the social media platforms just to be able to be in connection with you all and show a different side of us kind of popping soon. So just wherever you can find us on the prominent, so on your Facebooks and your Instagram yeah, Facebook, Instagram, some other stuff, man. Just look for us and we'll be there. But that's pretty much all we have today. Mike, you got anything?
nah, man, I just say be safe out there because, I mean, I don't really know if the coronavirus is going to kill you, but this guy daggone hysteria, man.
All right.
The hysteria of society built upon by these media platforms, that might kill you. So be safe out here.
All right.
Carry a heavy stick. Talk softly.
You may around, you ain't gonna die from the coronavirus. You're gonna get died from somebody being trampled on by somebody trying to get toilet paper, man.
Trying to get toilet paper, bro.
But yeah, that's all we got for y'all today, man. This is Mike Bennett, Mike Baker, signing out from the Weekly Tech Wrap Up, man. We see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.